I welcome you guys back into my video over here, and today's nice beautiful course is just learning how to really do these words in terms of connecting words together. And I already did one video, although I'll do another one just so that you understand how it goes. Realize that I have a word here which is discerning, and what I do is I go on a thesaurus.com or dictionary.com via YouTube in terms of the Google Drive. So you go into Google Drive and then you understand to go into the dictionary.com and thesaurus.com where you can go and discern or make sure that you go and do your synonyms up. I realize that although I have my eye in place, I realize that the whole point is you have to understand I'm just doing much better than yesterday. And I have a discerning word over here which I have to learn. And the whole point is I see discerning is astute, insightful, in terms of I see discerning is astute and insightful, whereas insightful is knowledgeable, although I understand I have to put my and there. Whereas discerning is astute and insightful and knowledgeable and penetrating and perceptive and piercing and knowing and acute. So what I'm doing here is I'm connecting nice beautiful cousins together of the word discerning, and that's called synonyms. I realize that what I have to do is I have to click on a new nice beautiful channel over here, and I have to go find a new word, and I'll go perceptive. I actually will go astute. I press on astute over here. I realize astute is adroit and canny and crafty and discerning and insightful and intelligent and keen and shrewd. I realize I'll go adroit. I see adroit is adept and artful and deft. I realize adroit is deft and masterful and nimble and proficient and skillful and apt. I realize I'll go deft because that's a word I still have to learn. I see deft is adept and adroit and ingenious and nimble and proficient and quick and skillful and able. I'll go nimble. I realize this is how I do my nice beautiful synonyms over here. I see nimble is adept and adroit and argyle. Nimble is argyle. I see nimble is bright and deft and lithe and also lively and skillful. I'll go and press argyle so I can pronounce it much better. I see argyle is athletic and buoyant and energetic and frisky and limber and lithe and rapid and spirited. I'll go press lithe. I see lithe. I see lithe. I see lithe. I see lath. I see lithe. I see lithe is limber and nimble and slim and argyle and supple and also lean and lissome and loose. Realize that's the whole difference between synonyms. So when I do these synonyms, I'm going and doing it with my heart. Although lissome is argyle and athletic and flexible and graceful and limber and lithe and nimble and pliant. I say lissome is pliant. I'm learning these words the first time. I see pliant is compliant and docile and pliable and obedient and tractable and yielding. I'll go and see what pliable is. I see pliable is docile and flexible and limber and malleable and manageable and pliant, whereas pliable is pliant and spongy and supple. I'm going to press on I'll go press on spongy. I see pliable is spongy. I see spongy is mushy. I see spongy is mushy and porous and soft and springy and squishy and elastic and light and resilient. So what I'm doing here is I'm connecting the words with and. So spongy is mushy and porous and soft and springy and as such. I see spongy. I'll go now and press porous because that's another new word. I see porous is absorptive. I see porous is absorptive. I see porous is absorptive and penetratable and permeable and pervious and sponge-like and spongy. I'll go and press absorptive. I'm going to press absorptive. I see absorptive, realize it has a nice P there, and it's not absorb in terms of the B, realize it's absorptive. Realize absorptive is assimilative and bibulous. Realize bibulous. Realize absorptive is penetratable and permeable and spongy. Realize I'll go bibulous. Whereas bibulous is absorptive and permeable and porous and spongy. I'll go and see what permeable is. I see permeable is absorptive and accessible and enterable and passable and pervious and porous and porous and spongy. I'll go see what porous is. I see porous is absorptive and accessible and enterable and passable and pervious and porous and sponge-like and spongy. Realize now I'll go and press sponge-like, and let's have a look. I see sponge-like is absorptive and accessible and enterable and passable and pervious and porous and porous and spongy. I'll go and see what accessible is. I see accessible is available and handy and reachable and unsable and attainable and employable and exposed and near. Or else I'll go usable. Or else usable is accessible and applicable and convenient and expendable and functional and profitable and useful and valuable. I'll go see what profitable is. I see profitable is beneficial and commercial and effective and productive and successful and useful and valuable and worthwhile. I'll go see what commercial is. I see commercial is, because I don't know anything other than I realize I still learn my words over here. I see commercial is commercial is economic and financial and monetary and profitable and wholesale and exchange and trading. I have to go monetary because I have to learn that word. I realize monetary is budgetary and financial and fiscal and pecuniary and capital and cash and commercial and pockets. I see pecuniary is monetary and banking and budgeting and business and economic and fiscal. I'll go fiscal over here, which is budgetary and economic and financial and commercial and money and pecuniary and pockets. Alright, now I'll go and see budgetary over here. Alright, budgetary is financial and fiscal and pecuniary and capital and cash and commercial and pocket. Alright, I'll press on capital here. Alright, capital is central and cardinal and also chef. In terms of chef, I mean the cooking chef. I see capital is chef and also dominant and leading and mayor in terms of the major and primary and prime. I'll go press on chef over here. I actually have to go cardinal because cardinal is a better word I have to learn. Whereas cardinal over here is overriding and central and chef and first and leading and primary and prime and ruling. Whereas I have to go and see from these words, I'll go into prime and see what's there. I see prime is heyday and best and flower and pink and prize and verdure and vitality and zenith. Whereas I'll go zenith to see what that word is. I see zenith is, whereas I can also make sure that no matter what, you guys can see me over here. I could hold my selfie stick as well. Whereas although I can see zenith is altitude and apex and climax and crown and culmination and eminence and height and payoff. I see now. Whereas apex, I'll go see what apex is. I see apex is apogee and culmination and pinnacle and acme and climax and cusp and point and zenith. I'll go acme over here. I see acme is apogee and culmination and height and peak and summit and top and vertex and zenith. I'll go culmination over here. I'm going to press, I see culmination is apex and climax and completion and pinnacle and acme and finish and noon and zenith. I see, I have to go and see apogee over here because that word is familiar in a way that I will go and read it now, although it's a word now that I must learn. Whereas apogee is apex and acme and climax and crest and peak and summit and zenith. I'll go and press summit. Whereas summit is acme and summit is acme and apex and climax and culmination and head and pinnacle and vertex and zenith. Whereas crest over here, I have to learn crest. Whereas crest is height and peak and ridge and acme and crescendo and culmination and head and pinnacle. Whereas I go crescendo. Alright guys, this is how I actually word my sentences and how I actually get smarter. So I just go and connect the words together. And this is how you also overcome schizophrenia. And it's also how to go and help yourself do a better life overall. I see crescendo is escalation and upsurge and apex and building and culmination and elevation and rise and zenith. Although that you have to understand, you do it with the heart so that you can overcome the ego, because sometimes your ego is right here and it's really, your ego is up here. Although when you're going into the heart, you'll always be able to find a better way. Okay, escalation. Whereas escalation is acceleration and increase and rise and growth. Whereas I go upsurge. Whereas upsurge is boom and improvement and recovery and upswing and upturn and advance and rise. I'll go boom and let's have a look over here. I see boom is, I realize boom is explosion and barrage and burst and culminate and roar and smash and thunder and wham. I realize how to see what wham is. I see wham is bang and blow and crash and knock and slam and smash and strike and whack. I'll go and see over here what strike is. Well, strike is beat and collide and crash and drive and knock and pummel and punch and smack. I have to go see what pummel is. Well, pummel is batter and crush and knock and pelt and punch and smack and thrash. And pummel is trounce as well. Well, let's go and trounce something in a better way. Whereas trounce is bash and beat and clobber and crash and drub and put away and rout and swamp. I'll go see what drub is. I see drub is clobber and spank and trouse. Whereas drub is trounce and wallop and beat and cane and hit and lash. I'll go check out what wallop is. I see wallop is clobber and drub and pummel and smack and whack and bushwhack and pound and slam. I'll see what bushwhack is. I see bushwhack is assault and attack and surprise and waylay. I'll go see what waylay is. I see waylay is accost and box and bushwhack and jump and lurk and prowl and skulk and slink. I'll go see what skulk is. I see skulk is crouch and prowl and slink and snoop and dodge and hide and pussyfoot and slack. I have to see pussyfoot. I have to see what this is. I see pussyfoot is avoid and dodge and glide and shuffle and sidestep and skulk. I realize pussyfoot is skulk and steal and to give a state. I realize to give a state. I realize that pussyfoot is to give a state. I realize pussyfoot is to give a state. I'll go check out what I realize this word is to give a sate. I realize to give a sate is apostatize and defect and equo. I see to investigate is equivocate. I realize equivocate. I realize to investigate is equivocate and hedge and renounce and shift and shuffle. I realize equivocate. I realize equivocate. You have to understand that when you are pronouncing words, you look at the vowels and you pronounce the vowels of the word. And that's that. Whereas equivocate is allude and escape and evade and fence and pussyfoot and shuffle and sidestep and waffle. I'll go evade. I see evade is avoid. I see evade is avoid and conceal, and evade is deceive and dodge and fend off and flee and hide and sidestep. You can see this. Whereas conceal over here is camouflage, and conceal is cloak and cover and harbor and lurk and mask and stash and stow. I realize I have to see what stow is. Whereas stow is put away and secret. I see stow is secrete, and also stash and tuck and bundle and deposit and load and stuff. Whereas camouflage. Whereas camouflage is cloak and conceal and mask and obscure and dim and dissimulate and obfuscate and screen. I see obfuscate is baffle and befuddle and bewilder and complicate and conceal and muddle and perplex and puzzle. I'll go befuddle. I see befuddle is baffle and bewilder and daze and distract and dumbfound and muddle and puzzle and stupefy. Or else stupefy. Or else befuddle is stupefy. Or else stupefy is benumb and daze and deaden and dull and dumb. I see deaden is desensitize and impair and abate and cushion and mute and reduce and smother and soften. Well, guys, this is how I actually do my nice beautiful videos, and also I also just make sure that no matter what, that I'm doing synonyms so that you understand that I'm teaching along the way what words are, and I'm also doing video on it so that I can still record myself as I do my nice beautiful practice here, because you have to understand that you can do the same, and it's worthwhile that you go and teach people what words are either way. Although you have to understand that all I'm really teaching you here is what different words are, and also along the way I may add something new. And the whole point of this is that you go and understand that when you create a video and you do 20 minutes of synonyms, I mean, just record yourself along the way so that you can at least teach somebody how you do it. Whereas abate is dwindle and ebb and recede and slacken and slow and subside and taper and wane. I'll go ebb, which is EBB. Whereas ebb is degenerate and dwindle and lessen and melt and peter out and recede and slacken and wane. Whereas peter out. Whereas peter out. Whereas peter out. Whereas Peter Pan. Whereas peter out is abate and ebb and evaporate and fade and recede and wane and diminish and drain. Whereas each and every single time I do these words, I learn something along the way about vocabulary today, and you have to do it every day for 20 minutes. And you have to understand you can do it more than 20 minutes. I just realized I could do it for 20 minutes, although I set this video to be for 20 minutes, and then I can just go and do my life. Although I've already seen some words and already remember stupefy is numb and degaze and all this kind of stuff. So I realize it's amazing. I see wane is abate and astrophy and decrease and dim and dwindle and ebb and subside and wither. I realize that I know nothing, although I know I because I have to know thyself, although you have to understand that thyself means I. Whereas astrophy is degeneration and decline and degeneracy and deterioration and diminution and also downfall and downgrade. Whereas that I can also pronounce all these nice beautiful big words that are so complex, although they're very simple, and I'm not complex. Although everything is simple, and I look at everything simple, I look at everything in a simple way, and it's also always simplified in my way. So when I become a simple human being, I'm never complex. I realize that diminution is abatement, and I realize elevation. I realize that diminution is elevation and curtailment and cut back and decay and decline and deduction. You have to understand that when you're doing words and you're learning words, you're going to pick up words really quickly, and then you can also public speak and use this whole broad and range of ideas that you have with words, and then change it up with your communication each and every single time and along the way, so that you understand you're going to become a better communicator along the way. So that's why I'm doing this. Whereas diminution is abatement and elevation and curtailment. So I said that. Whereas that curtailment is abbreviation and condensation and cutback and also reduction. Whereas condensation is contraction and abstract and brief and compendium and compression and also consolidation and essence and reduction. Whereas compendium is abstract and brief and essence and manual and sketch and summary and survey and syllabus. Whereas I'll go syllabus. I see syllabus is curriculum and sypnosis and conspectus. I see conspectus. I see syllabus is conspectus. I see also syllabus is outline and review and rundown and schedule and sketch, or las conceptus, or las conspectus. Las conspectus is abstract and outline and overview and review and rundown and resume, and you can also say regime. Or las conspectus is regime and sub, or las conspectus, or las it's conspectious. I see now. I see conspectious is abstract and outline and overview and review and rundown and resume and summation and hypnosis. Whereas now I'm learning more how to pronounce words. Whereas summation is addition and aggregate and sum. Whereas now I'll go addition, for example. Whereas addition is extension and inclusion and accession. Whereas addition is accession and annexation and attachment and augmentation and also enlargement and adjoining. Whereas I'll go annexation because I've never heard of that word before. Whereas annexation is incorporation and addition and appropriation and also attachment and grab and increase and increment and also merger. Whereas now I have a better indication of what accrementation is, which is an appropriate view. I realize that you can now name sentences and an acronym or an accrementation is a syllabus where you can understand different words in the culmination of life. Whereas now what I said there is just a sum basis of something that I said that's really going to help. Whereas now it helps you to word with, I realize it helps you all to help yourself to understand that when you do words and you elaborate on them and you word them together, you're going to be able to speak all these different words and you can go anyway. I see increment is another word for poetry. I see increment is accession. I realize increment is accession and accrual and advancement and increase and profit and raise and rise and supplement. I realize, guys, that each and every single time you do this, you'll always learn something more about words. I'll say accrual is accumulation and build up and increase, and I realize accrual is amassing and amassment. So when I break up and I stuff up, I go and I say accrual is amassing, and then I say and from that point, and then I continue. So for example, I may go accrual is accumulation and build up and increase. So when I may stuff up, then I'll go accrual is, I'll start accrual is, and then I'll say and. Whereas accrual is amassing and amassing in terms of amassment. We've got amassment over here. I'll go and see amassment is acquiring and aggregation and amassing and assemblage. I see amassment is a blage. I see amassment is assemblage and collection and accumulation. Amassment, I realize amassment is accumulation and also gathering and mass. I know nothing except I. I realize now. I'll go aggregation. Because aggregation is aggregate and gathering and all. As I picked up gathering with that word. I realize although it's gathering, I realize now I'm better than gathering. I'm better than everything I say, and I understand now. Gathering is collection and conclave and conference and congregation and crowd and functioning and group and throng. Whereas I'll go check out conclave. Whereas conclave is confab and powwow and assembly and cabinet and conference and gathering and huddle and parley. Whereas powwow. Whereas powwow is confab and parley and confabulation and also conference and consultation and council and huddle and meeting. I see confabulation over here. I see confabulation is chat and chit chat and confab and converse and dialogue and discussion and whereas confabulation is, I realize I just stuffed up, although I'll go backwards in a way that I'll go confabulation is palaver and speech, so I'll just go forward. Whereas palaver is babel and conference and conservation in terms of conversation and dialogue and discussion and flagger and parley and wheedle. Whereas I'll go see wheedle. I'm having fun with this. Whereas wheedle is cajole and finagle and coax and courts and draw and flatter and oil and seduce. I'll go cajole. Whereas cajole is deceive and dupe and entice and entrap and seduce and tantalize and tempt and wheedle. Whereas now I'll go to these words. I see finagle is cheat and contrive and deceit. Whereas finagle is deceive and also manipulation and plot and scheme and swindle and trick. Whereas there's another one over here which is coax. Whereas coax is cajole and entice and induce and tease and tempt and wheedle and barter and flatter. So when I go and just reread the synonyms of each word, I realize I pick up some words along the way and others I don't even remember them, although I just keep on going, and then I realize that the whole point is just pick up some words. And even if you miss a word here and there, I mean, who cares? I mean, just keep learning and you pick up other words along the way. And as long as you're picking up words and learning those words, in terms of just, you keep on doing this, you pick up 2 words out of 10 words, and you're still smarter than before. I realize that when I read 10 of these pages, I realize I may pick up 5 words. I realize although I may have read 100 words and connected 100 words together, although it's really that I picked up 100% of the information, although I would remember, and I still remember always, I never would, I still remember how to really understand those words once I connect them. So 5 ways to connect something is amazing in terms of communication. I realize although you just keep reading and you'll pick up more along the way, and that's it. I promise you there's no failure here. I realize tease, I'll go tease. I realize tease is annoy and bother and needle and nudge and pick on and ridicule and tantalize and taunt. I'll go tantalize is annoy and baffle and entice and fascinate and frustrate and titillate and torment and bedevil. I'll go titillate over here. I love that. I realize titillate is amuse and I realize titillate is entertain and tantalize and tease and tickle, and I realize titillate is hook and palpate and thrill. I realize titillate is thrill. You can also say that titillate is struggle as well. Whereas palpate is abut and boggle. Whereas palpate is border and caress and converge and probe and rub and stroke and verge. Realize now I'll go abut. I don't know what abut is. Realize that abut is adjoin and border on and join, and also neighbor and be adjacent to and butt against. Realize now abut is butt against. I see now butt against is adjoin and follow and score and touch and bound and rank and rim and verge. I'll go adjoin. Realize adjoin is abut and approximate and communicate and connect and join and lie and link and verge. Realize now you guys understand why I record myself along the way, because it's so smart to do so. And you may as well have 30 minutes of doing this on camera than having to do it just with yourself without a camera recording you. And you can see why it's so smart. Whereas although you're going to teach people how to do it. I realize over here I've got link. Realize that when you connect these words together, you're going to be smarter. And no matter where you are, you can start with a little kid. You can start with anyone. You have to understand that you go and teach them. And what you're going to do is realize that anybody can start at any age. And then you teach kids, just do this. And you have to understand that this is the best way to invent something. And it's also the best way to innovate. And it's the best way to leadership everything. to understand that as soon as you teach your kids to just do this, you have to understand, you just send your kids this video, you have to understand that this video is going to teach them how to do this. And then you understand that your kid will go and do them. And then they will be able to do this. And now, I don't know if they will do it or not, although you have to do it every day. And you have to do this every day and record yourself along the way, and it's worth it. I get to look at myself in the mirror, which is my phone over here, and I love myself each and every step of the way because I get to enjoy myself. Alright, link is associate and attach and bind and combine and identify and join and relate and unite. Alright, over here, I'll say identify. I see identify is analyze and classify and describe and determine and diagnose and establish and pinpoint and spot. I'll go pinpoint. I'll see pinpoint. I see pinpoint is diagnose and apostrophe and also identify and recognize and distinguish and finger and place and spot and determinate. You can also add your own meanings as well. Alright, over here I'll go determinate. Alright, determinate is certain and decide. Alright, determinate is decided and decisive and determined and determining and distinct and final and firm. I'll go distinct over here. I don't know. I see culinary. I realize that's the word I said before. Alright, distinct is definite and noticeable and specific and unmistakable and audible and categorical and clean cut and clear. I'll go clean cut is categorical and clear and definite and definitive and explicit and express and sharp and specific. I'll go categorical. Unless I just pick one word from those 8 words that are cousins of the word, and I just go and choose a word that I don't know. Unless categorical is absolute and clear cut and definite and definitive and apathetic. Unless categorical is apathetic, or less apathetic, or less empathetic, or less I see that's emphatic. Or less categorical is emphatic and forthright. Realize that it's forthright. Realize categorical is forthright and ambiguous. Realize now unculinary, I don't know. Or realize that categorical is ambiguous. Realize categorical is ambiguous. Realize this is unambiguous. Realize I just confused myself before. Realize although categorical is ambiguous and unequivocal. Realize unequivocal. Realize unequivocal. Realize unequivocal. Realize unequivocal. I see this is equivocal. Realize equivocal. Realize unequivocal. Realize unequivocal. I see unequivocal. Whereas categorical is unequivocal. Whereas that's how you pronounce it. Whereas now I see unequivocal. I see what a word. I see unequivocal is I see unequivocal is apparent and categorical and clear cut and explicit and indisputable and obvious and straightforward and ambiguous. Whereas unequivocal is unambiguous. Whereas it's the opposite of ambiguous. Whereas although that unequivocal is ambiguous, although it's the opposite of ambiguous, because this is ambiguous. Whereas this is whereas it's also, just how I say, it's unambiguous, and that's the opposite of that. Whereas the whole point of this is just to keep going. I realize unambiguous is explicit and obvious, and I see univocal. 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 Whereas unambiguous is univocal and apparent and distinct and plain and unblurred. You may stuff up along the way, although you just make sure you correct yourself better. Whereas unblurred is luminous and unambiguous and clear cut and comprehensible and distinct and explicit and intelligible. I realize this is more than enough, guys. So I realize that once I did all that, I realize I get uncomfortable. So when I get uncomfortable, I just stop. I realize although that I don't stop. I just realize that it's more, I can feel that it's more enough for me today to just let that be. And I understand it's just a practice. Although when you go and connect words together, I promise you, if you keep connecting the words, you'll learn more and you'll get more uncomfortable along the way. And now, as long as you feel that those words are more than enough, I mean, you're just going to stop. And you're going to stop for today, and then you just go and do it every single day. And then just tape yourself along the way that you're doing it. And like that, you can go and teach people along the way how you rank your school of notes. So when you understand that you are somebody of a teacher today, and you're going to teach somebody something, I mean, just go from the heart and do it, and speak to people from the heart, and just be obvious. I mean, be obvious like a preliminary way. That's going to say that you're straightforward, and you're going to understand, and you're going to be much better. And you have to understand. I'll see you guys in the next video. Although, just make sure that you stay on touch and keep it going. You see, guys, here is the difference between I and them. You have to understand that I, in life, will make sure that I will go and create all these videos so that you can be successful. I promise you, they will go the other way, and they'll make sure to go and grab a website to get you on it so that they can make money. And they'll make sure to go and get the real estate they need so that they can get money so that they control the world. I promise you, that's the difference between successful and not successful. Because the money that you supposedly need is not going to get you higher into inspiration. You have to understand, if you need a Jesus-like inspirational mentality, for now, Jesus will help you first, and then we'll never even worry about the money. You understand, it's really not about the money. I go helping you first and give you all this knowledge for free. And I don't care about the money, because what's important is the freedom that I have. I have freedom no matter what happens in life. And now, what do I do now? I just give you more and more information, because I understand that growth is a small and large journey at the same time. You have to understand that with life, growth is the yin and yang. Although you have to understand that growth is only in the name of something better. You have to understand, you have to go and also learn the yin and yang. You have to learn what everything is. And you have to understand that growth is a small, although large journey. You have to understand that growth is slow and fast at the same time. You have to understand that everything is in growth. And now those people who believe that they can go and make $1 million and tens and billions of dollars in the stock market without helping people are losers. You get it? I promise you, people who are going around and calling up Grant Cardone today and going around searching for real estate to make some money without helping you are losers. You get it? Because I'm not doing that. I'm not going to the stock market to place my money in Netflix or any type of stock market in terms of the equities out there, in terms of stocks and shares. And I'm not going into real estate until I help you more. You have to understand, the whole point here is help people first, and you will be served. You give people what they want, and you will get what you want, as Zig Ziglar says. You have to understand, it's not about money. Actually, it's about communication with people. So the more you can communicate with people and live life daily with yourself to make sure that you're growing, you understand that it's a slow journey. You understand that life is long and there is plenty of time to make money. I promise you now that what's more important than money is giving you some words of wisdom today. I promise you now, have that in your heart. You have to understand that you don't need to think, you don't need to have thoughts in your head. You don't need to have thoughts in your head. You write everything down and you make sure you plan ahead willingly. You willingly force yourself to plan. You get out the phone, you start writing today how you can make more time, because time is more money. And now, because I have time, I realize because I have 10 months of freedom, I realize that I have 10 months of time where I don't have to work a 9 to 5. I have 10 months of freedom. I realize that those people who are working for the money, though, will work the 9 to 5 job and they've got no freedom at all. I realize now, work is much better. I realize it's time that's much better than money. I realize that time will get me
business, in terms of life, where I can go and help you within that time. Because in a 9-to-5 job, I promise you that I would never be able to help you in a 9-to-5 job. I would only be able to help them because I'd be with them and not you. I realize, although that is why I get away from a 9-to-5 job, so I can go and give you all the knowledge and skills that you need, because I'm the best life coach in the planet. You understand? And now the whole point of that is to understand that you have to grow anyway. So money cannot grow you. You understand? I promise you, money does not grow on trees. And what does that mean? I realize that the tree is the growth fountain. And you have to understand that really you're growing. You're growing either way. You're going to grow with or without money. You understand that money cannot grow you. It cannot force you to do anything. I promise you, money can get you more time. Although you have to understand that you are the one who can get more time ultimately, more than money can ever. You understand? Because money cannot get your health back. I promise you, money cannot speak your words out. I promise you, money cannot buy love. You understand? I promise you, money can get you materialistic aspects and also travels. I promise you, it can get you anything of that nature. I promise you, it can get you anything in the outside world. I promise you, although, that it cannot soothe your appetite to grow. I promise you, it cannot fulfill you. You understand? I promise you, money cannot fulfill you, although you can. I promise you, if money can fulfill you, I mean, go and eat up all the money, and you have to understand that it's not the way to go. Understand, you never eat up money. You make sure that you understand that money is wisdom. And those people who have wisdom today are the ones who are really giving it. You have to give wisdom. You have to understand that heart is where it's at. You have to give your heart. And now you give it in leadership terms, you give it in perspectives, you give it in all aspects of life. Although you make sure that you give it. You're giving your heart, you're giving your soul, you're making sure that people are successful more and more, and give them different ideas and different perspectives, in different ideas, in different communication skills. Realize you're doing it in different communication signals while talking in a different way all the time. And I promise you, it's the best aspect of life to do so, because that way you're going to grow into something that money can never buy. I need you guys to understand why I don't hang around with other people. You have to understand that I can go on Facebook now and social media and Snapchat and message every single person in the universe. I can message anybody and I can ask them to do business with me. And how would I do that? I realized I'd go up to them and I'd say, how are you? I realized I came here to help you about anything in life. I realized then I'd make sure that no matter what, I'll go and help them on something in life. I give them a quote here, I'll give them a quote there, I'll make sure that I show them how to communicate much better, and I just give it. I just give from my heart. Otherwise, that they may say, screw you. I'll be like, you must have a nicer persona, because I understand when you say that you look stupid. And then I move on. You have to understand that it's really that. You don't tell people to screw you. Understand? Although, you'll be in an offense mode. You'll be somewhere in the long of the lines in life where you're just helping. You're helping people grow. Although then, eventually, you're going to say, you have to meet up with us. Whereas now, you would have to go there, because obviously now you have this nice, beautiful persona around them and you're lifting them. And now you're going to be with them for how long? I don't know. You're going to be with them for 5 hours or 6 hours or 7 hours. And then you're going to go your way and you're going to look for the next person to help. And now you may be in a pub. You're going to see people drinking a beer. You're going to go up to them. You're going to say, you guys need some business today. You guys have a business. You guys need some help. And they're going to be like, what do you offer? Well, you start to really dwell into their business, and you start to really be in front of their face, and you start to really help them about every single life aspect, and you're giving them ideas. And then they're going to like you, and they're going to like you. And then you have to understand you have to be with them. And then you have to understand that the whole point in life is, I realize to understand that the whole point is help them all the way and then stay with them. I realize that once you stay with them, I realize that now, I realize you're doing your job, you're growing, and you're being somebody in that field. Although, eventually what's going to happen is they're going to say that they have to go. I mean, they have to go now and they have to go do something else. Although now you've lifted. You've lifted from that point because you've waited, and you never really waited, although you've been with them the whole time. And you really grew in that moment, and you grew the communication skills of being with those people. So now when they leave you first, you have to understand that you have to be with them until they leave. And then You understand that you're doing your job, and now they go, and then you go and look for a new person or a new group or whatever, and you start to engage with them as well. You start to engage with them, you start to show them your business, you start to show them what you're doing, and then you're helping them in every aspect of life, and you're completely exposed. You're showing them a complete version of who you are. And now when they ask you how you get your money, you say from the government, or you're doing this and that. You're making sure that you're just helping clients in this way, and that you have some skills in this way, and whatever, and you're just getting into a nice, beautiful conversation, and you're helping people along the way. I realize they're not going to judge you, although you have to understand that it's really that you go helping people even better. And now, eventually, you're going to understand something. You're going to understand that it's going to work, and people will love you, and people will start building a reputation around you. Although you have to understand that you have to keep growing. You have to keep approaching people. You have to understand you have to keep going to people and actually being in their face, and then you have to offer a service, and you have to communicate with them on a daily basis. Otherwise, that is one way to do it. I'm going to show the other way in which I do it. I do it this way. I don't ever talk to them. I never go talking to them, because I understand that I've got something else to do. And I can teach far more people than just one person at a time, or one group at a time, or I can teach much better than having to approach other. I realize I can teach much better than having to approach other people, because what I do is I get my camera out, and instead of now approaching other people, you've approached me. I realize now you've approached me. You've approached me, and now you're looking for some ideas. I'll give you some ideas already. I never had to approach you in the first place, and that's why we have internet today. I realize now I never have to approach you to give you some ideas. You just approach me. I realize does that sound better? I realize it sounds so much better when other people are approaching you for ideas and asking you questions and always looking at you and following you and becoming something around you. I realize now you're the leader, although you've never seen them. You never talked to them in your life. And now, what's the whole point of this? I realize the whole point is put your beautiful face in front of a camera and let's teach something. Probably that's it. I no longer have to go to the pub to find poisonous people who are going to, let's say, drink alcohol in front of me and offer me beer. You understand? And now, why do I call them poisonous? Because they're poisoning themselves. I realize that when you drink alcohol, you become the poison. You're now poisonous to everybody. Whereas now, I don't have to hang around with those people anymore. I don't have to go around where they are. I've got nothing against them. I love them. Although I don't need to be around alcohol junkies. I don't have to be around junkies. I don't have to be around drug addicts. I don't have to be around them. I've got nothing against them. I realize that's what they are. I realize when you call them alcoholics, I promise you, when they drink alcoholic, in terms of when they drink alcohol, I realize that is because they're alcoholics. I realize now, I don't have to approach those people. I don't have to approach people online anymore because I have something better. I realize, what is that? I realize I have to do my videos. I can do my videos without them. I don't need them to engage me. I don't need their validation. I just go and create videos. I just go and make my videos. I don't have to seek business from them. I just go create my business. I mean, how? I just go create a video. I just start coaching them because I don't even have to ask them anymore to coach them. I just go and coach. I mean, that's the difference. I mean, that's why the internet's so important. I realize now, ever since the phones came out, you have internet now, all of a sudden. And now is the best time to start doing nice, beautiful videos such as this, and also I realize you start coaching other people based on anything, and you make up your own titles. You don't need other people to question you and to ask you questions so that you can make up a title about what to talk about. I question myself, everything. I realize I question myself in everything of life. So I'm always improving my communication skills. So I apologize if my communication is not at its best, although I understand I'm doing better than yesterday. You understand? Because my best is always happening in the moment. I'm always doing my best. So you have to understand that it's really, my communication skills is always lifting. And I'm always lifting in the moment. I'm always doing something amazing. I had to pause the video because my biological dad just came into the nice, beautiful room and he gives me free accommodation and everything. And I understand he just said bye and that he loves me and that's that. You have to understand, although, that when other people are approaching you in front of your video or whatever, you just pause it and you continue and then you connect it together and you upload it online. And then what do you do with that? I realize what you do with your videos is you coach people. You can also do this. You can send people links. You can send people links online, although guess what? I realize today it's called spam. And when you post so much of your links to other people, you're wasting time. And how are you wasting time? Because they really never asked you for the link in the first place. I realize what you can do is you upload your contents up on YouTube and let them find you randomly. Let them find you from a friend, from a friend, from a friend. And let them find you from words of friends, for example. You understand? Let them find out about you, about who you are from word of mouth. And from friends of friends of friends. And how they talk about you. And now, the ideas are here. And I give you the ideas. And my business is running 24/7. And that's why I have 10 months of freedom now. I made 10 months of freedom. And how did I do it? I use OPM. I use other people's money. I don't work for the money. You understand? I can use my parents' money. I just create freedom. You understand? So guess what? I realized that I grew up around a family that is not millionaires in terms of finances. I grew up with something. Although compared with other kids, I realized the other kids, for example, with Grant Cardone's little children, I promise you they grew up in a jet. I promise you they grew up around these big houses. I realized I never did that. I promise you, although, that she and those kids will never find out how I live. I promise you now I can find out how that goes. Although it's really, you have to understand that everybody is unique. And now, you have to grow some way. I realize that I'm a nice individual. Although many people do not find me nice. I don't know why. Although I give you so much more information than you give me. I can give you right now the nice, beautiful idea that I've given you much more information than you've given me. And I don't know why they're not nice people. Although guess what? I realize the whole point is not knowing. You have to understand that when you're not knowing something, you have to understand to know your I. I know my I. I know who I am. Because who I am, I realize because who I am is I. I'm I, and that's that. I realize who is I? I. I is everything. I stick to that. So when I learn and I coach, I realize it's not really me to go, in terms of my I, to go to other people to start coaching them. I realize I don't have to do that anymore. I realize back then, when there was no internet age, you would have to. You would have to go and approach people. Because that's the old way. I promise you, the old way is you have to go and approach people. You have to call them now. You have to call them. You have to message them. You have to knock on the door. I promise you, that's the old way. I promise you, that's the tough way. I promise you, that's the hard way. I promise you, that's what Grant Cardone is selling today. I promise you, that's past. I promise you, that's finished. I promise you, that's not the way anymore. I promise you, the best way today is from your own room. You don't have to knock on their door. I promise you, they knock on your door. You understand? I promise you, when Jesus knocks on your door, will you open? I open all the time. You open your door for everybody. You welcome everybody into your life. And now, if people are smart enough to be in your life altogether, you let them. You let them be. I promise you now, if your biological family or anybody messages you, you only message the people who are important to you. I promise you, you only ever message the people who are valuable and who are on your life's path. I realize I've got some friends who've messaged me and they love me, although guess what? I promise you they're not in my life path. I mean, that I'm not sorry about what I've done. I've never replied. You have to understand that they're not on my life path. I promise you, they've got no value to give me, other than their love. And now, I've got already love. I mean, when I have my own love, I realize when I have my own love, why would I need your love? I've got my love already. I mean, if you approached me and you asked me, Danny, I've got a nice, beautiful party going, and I'd love you to meet somebody who's famous, who can get your attention. I promise you, I'd right away go with you. Because now, you're really in my life. And you're in my life path now. I realize you're in my life's path. I realize that if you come up to me and you say, Danny, I'd really love to help you out with some ideas. I promise you now, what kind of ideas do you have? Because I'm more of a business perspective like this. I'm more of a perspective in a way to be able to come up to you and to ask you for ideas. So what I do is I go towards my mentors and I ask them for my ideas and everything. And now I give my own ideas, although I ask for ideas all the time and I question everything that's said. I realize now that if you're single and you're ready to mingle, you have to understand that I am not ready to mingle with other people. Because why? Because I'm mingling with myself. I don't need other people to mingle with. I'm always ready. I'm always ready for everything, although I don't need other people. I don't need a woman. I don't need kids. I don't need marriage to live a successful life. I promise you that kids is not going to make your life anything greater. I promise you now, you may have more, and you may have a wife or a husband that's going to help you, although you have to understand that you are really helping you. I promise you, they're not going to help you. I promise you now, my biological dad is helping me with free accommodation and the car. I promise you, he's giving me the car and free Wi-Fi. I promise you now, he's helping me financially. I understand. I although will say that I'm helping myself the most. I'm helping myself the most, even more than he is. And now that means that I am more of my true friend than he is. So realize that because I help myself more, I'm not reliant on my biological dad for free accommodation and also free Wi-Fi and the car, because I can live without him. I just went around Australia for 1 year, 4 months, and I don't need him in my life. I just came here because it's freedom, and he gives me freedom. So okay, I go where the value is. I realize if he died today, I realize he can die. I realize he can just be in a car crash right now. I don't know, because he just left. I don't know. I realize he can die. And now, if somebody else dies in your life who is outside of you, and it's really somebody else who dies around your family, I realize you can never stop that. You can never stop other people dying around you, although you have to understand that anything can happen. I realize that your whole life can go upside down, although you have to understand that you have to adapt quickly. I realize if my dad died today, I really, really will understand to go get myself accommodation and continue my life. I'll continue my life. I'll go somewhere else. I'll live somewhere else. I'll live here. I'll live here. I'll make sure that no matter what, that I have freedom anyway. You have to understand that it's really that you go and put yourself in a situation that's really going to help you. And now, I'm maturing over time. I don't know if you watch my other videos. I've got over 300 hours of videos. And now, you have to understand that when I started my videos, you can see on my Mega Drive, I realized I changed totally my perception of who I am. I realized that I'm much faster in my communication style. I'm much better in who I am. I no longer need other people. I'm much more independent. I lost weight. I'm a vegan now. I was a smoker before. I mean, I changed and I developed my life. I developed my life so much that I'm still developing. I know nothing except I. So I'm always learning. I'm always growing. I'm always lifting my eye. I'm making sure that I can correspond in a better way. And now most people around me are going this way. I realize they're going the way of a relationship. I realize they're going the way of a relationship with other people. And now they're getting into marriage and they're getting into kids and that kind of lifestyle, and then the mortgage, and then the car, and then in debt, and then working 9 to 5. And that's not kind of what I need. So what I need in life is to be alone for the next 10 months. I mean, completely, because I'm free. I'm living on $10 a day. Although, guess what? I'm happier than yesterday. And every single day, I get to do my business. I've got my biological dad. I've got my biological dad as a free gift in this world, who is going to support me financially. Although, guess what? I can support myself financially because I'm doing it now. I'm doing it now by doing all these videos. And now, I realize what makes me so qualified to give you all this information, because I have experience. I've experienced something. I've learned something. I have mentors that feed me information. I apply it. I give it to you. I move on. You get it? I realize that's the whole point. I realize you go and share the message around. And then you become more successful. And you create this nice, beautiful database about yourself. And it's your biography. I realize it's about who you are. I realize you go and create thousands of hours of just your name and put it into a life of your name. And then go and sell it, although you give it for free. You give your content for free and you don't sell it for money. I realize that many people will say you must go and trade the stock market, and you must go into binary options. You don't trade the stock market. You don't go into binary options. I realize that I have a nice, beautiful journal that says what you never do. And what you never do is you never do New South Wales. You never go Australia. You never go this place. You never go this place. You never go this place. You never go to the beach. You never go to the beach because of these reasons. You never go to the pool because of these reasons, because it's going to waste your time. And now you may be a believer who really needs to be in Australia, although you don't need to be Australia until you're here. You understand? I promise you, you don't have to go anywhere in life until you have to. I realize that I have to be only here. Understand? I'm only here. So I'm always just learning. I'm not that type of guy to wait. I'm not waiting for anything. I'm a guy, I'm a man, although guess what? You have to understand, you have to man up all the time. I'm not a woman. Although you have to understand that you ladies have to say, your type of guy or whatever. You have to understand that whatever you understand, that it's really you ladies have to say that you are a woman, I'm a man, and that you ladies understand that you are a lady and not a guy. I realize although that it's really that we improve our communication skills. So be careful when people are speaking I am. I realize that when somebody says I'm a man and then a woman's listening to her, I realize that she's going to believe that she's a man too. Although you have to understand that you go and just repeat that you are a woman instead. And that way you're going to be more straight, because sometimes when you're reading people's words, I realize that they can say something like, I'll kill you or something like that, although I'll never kill you. Although when you're reading those words, it's like you are really saying that. I realize it starts with I. So when you said I, you have to understand that you never ever speak their words. I realize that you go and speak your own words. And be careful about how people are saying everything. So the best idea in the planet that I can give you right now is make sure that you go online and make a reputation for yourself, because it's the best way to do so. And it's no longer that you have to go toward, it's no longer that you have to go toward other people. You have to go and use the internet now. You have to use social media. I just used Instagram, Mega Drive, and YouTube. I realize that's it. I realize that's more enough to give you my information and for you to find me. You don't need to find me on 10 social medias. I realize I only use YouTube because there's a statistic base where I can use statistics to see how my trends are going. And that's it. I realize I don't even need YouTube. I just use it because there's some statistics I can benefit from. I realize although I can totally go without it. You understand? I promise you the whole point is I can do it just with social media in terms of Instagram. I understand though that I'm still developing, I'm still doing much better. I'm reading Grant Cardone with real estate because I eventually have to get into real estate so that I can get all this money and put into seminars so I can do seminars around the world. And now I may be 28 years of age, although guess what? I'm very young and I'm younger than ever, and I can teach you how to do so. I can teach you how to become the best version of yourself. And now most people will look at me and will say, no way. I realize I'm already the best version of myself. I mean, are you? I see 99% of the world. I realize when I walk into life and see them, I realize they're worse than yesterday. I can see they're either fat, I realize they're ugly, I realize they're smoking, I realize they're doing drugs. I realize they're not their best versions. You have to be a best version. And you have to stand out like that. I realize I do fashion modeling. I now walk around like a fashion model. I realize I have all the nice, beautiful clothes because I have to look the part as a fashion model. In a sense, so fashion modeling helps me to go in front of the camera and look at myself more. Because when I look at I more in the mirror, I love myself more. I realize when I look at myself in the camera like this, I love myself more. I'm giving you my heart. I'm giving you my soul. I'm giving you something that really works. So every time I do a video, I realize now, especially, I realize for the next 10 months, I'll be pumping these videos online. Because I understand that freedom is worth it when you give the service first. You give your freedom first. You give everything that you have and all that you have in terms of life, you give it for free because you deserve freedom. Or else when you deserve freedom, you help other people to become free. And then you'll help yourself to become free. Or else if you need freedom and you're not helping other people to become free, you'll never deserve freedom. You deserve freedom, so help other people to gain freedom. Or else that's what I do. And now my status is going to really develop when I understand that this moment is everything. So this moment is everything, and you say it in front of a camera, and you enjoy the process of growing. You enjoy it because it's a slow journey. And now people are going to be making money. I realize it's not about making money. I realize it's about how much content are you giving today. I realize Grant Cardone every second day may post 1 hour video online. I do 3 hours of videos online. I promise you that's me showing that I have more money than him. I have more money because I have more youth. I have more vitality to do more videos. I promise you I have more time to do the videos. In a sense, so the more you do, the better you are. Although I will say that Grant Cardone has 5,000 videos on YouTube. I have 300. You understand? Although I have 28 years of age and he's got 66. Although it's a difference. Although he's a role model. And then I role model him in a way that I go with Jesus. And you have to understand, I relate everything with Jesus. And that way I'm doing better always. You have to understand that each and every single time you do something, you connect the video together, you do something, you post it online, and you post it with 720 HD or more. I posted my other videos on 320 HD. I realized it was 320 pixels, and I realized that the nice, beautiful image is almost going to be blurry. I realized 300 hours of that. Although you have to understand that it's something I learned from. I learned from it, and now you can see me, and it's just about to blur. You have to understand about the 320 pixel camera in terms of the video quality. I was uploading that online because at the time I realized it's the most effective to do so, and it helped me with time and effort in terms of I have to give more effort all the time, although it helped me in terms of time, and otherwise I would have driven myself insane. I realize now I have more time, I have free Wi-Fi, I'm enjoying, and I'm also giving you everything that you need. You have to understand that when you have free Wi-Fi, I realize it's the best. So take advantage. I realize when you have something, why would I take away free Wi-Fi from my life? Why would I make my life harder now? Why would I leave my biological dad's house where I get free accommodation now and free Wi-Fi? Why would I go? Why would I go to Melbourne to give $25 a day more? I can afford it. Why would I go to Melbourne to give $25 for rent when I can get it for free over here? Why would I make my life harder? Why would I go to the hospital to get free Wi-Fi? Why would I be in a hospital when I can get free hospital here? Why would I make my life harder? Ask yourself, why would you make your life harder? I deserve it. I deserve free Wi-Fi because I'm here. I deserve it. I can go to Melbourne. I say no. I find freedom over here. I go where the freedom is. Why would you take away a kid that you have? It's stupid. If you have a kid, I realize it's the same as you saying, for example, that you would take away your kid because you'll make your life harder. Why? You made a kid, so you deserve it, so you keep the kid and don't kill the kid. And make sure that you raise the kid now. You understand? It's the same thing as me, for example, saying to take away I realize I'll never take away my Wi-Fi, although you have to understand that I'll never leave freedom. You understand? I realize once you create something in terms of freedom or whatever you did, why would you go backwards? There's no chance for me to go to Melbourne now to start giving $25 I realize to start giving $25 for rent. I realize that it's not worth it when I have for free over here. I realize that when you make a kid, why would you take away your kid when you made the kid? Why? I realize it's because you didn't deserve the kid in the first place. I realize if you make a kid and you kill the kid, you never deserve the kid. If you made the kid and then you grew the kid to be 50 years of age, I realize you deserve the kid still. You understand? You will never ever go and make your life harder. If you have a car that's for free, why would you go and get a Ferrari for $500,000 while you are in debt because of that? You have a car for free, and even though it's a Toyota Starlet and it's a 1958 version, it's for free and it goes. Why would you go be in debt for a Ferrari? What for? Why would you get a loan to get a Ferrari so you can impress other people? What for? That car's not going to satisfy you as much as this free gift will. Then you have to go repay. You have to go repay and recapitalize that financial quest that you did. You'll then have to go work the 9 to 5 and work for 20 years to just repay that Ferrari and recapitalize it, which is another word for repay. You understand? So don't make your life harder than it is. You understand? So even though I have free Wi-Fi, I have free accommodation, I deserve it. I'm still here. You cannot take it away from me. You can never take anything away from me. I'll always have it. You understand? So, for example, I did 400 hours of videos online. Why would I just go delete all the videos and not help you? Why? Why would I make my life harder now? Do you get it? I realize I work for it. I deserve it. I'm here. It's the same thing as saying when you have a wife and she's so beautiful, you have a husband that is so beautiful. Why would you go leave them for why would you leave them for an uglier one? Why? It doesn't make sense. Whereas you don't make your life harder. You understand? Whereas with this, in terms of life, you just make sure that you're doing better, and you make sure that you're a gift. You make sure that you have a nice positive scenario, and just make more of everything. You see, guys, here's a nice, beautiful difference between a life coach who understands how to do business and somebody who doesn't. You have to understand that we're all life coaches, although here is I, where I may be watching YouTube, and then I pick up an idea. I have my selfie stick ready to go on the table, and I have my nice, beautiful remote control right here, and I press play right away to give you the idea right away as it's hot. Realize that when an idea is in your head, you put it into video right away. And my selfie stick is right here, ready with the video camera to give you an idea whenever possible. And guess what? I realize that's what I do daily. I go and read from Grant Cardone.
In Alabama, because I look at what's around Alabama. Okay, not to mention the jobs that are going there, the car manufacturers that are moving in there, costs moving there.
And then he may give me an idea. I realize he may give me an idea. I realize straight away I reach for my selfie stick. I give you the nice, beautiful video right away. You understand? I give you something right away. And that's the key decider between somebody who's not successful and somebody who is. Because what did I do? I grabbed the inspiration, I gave you the idea. And what was the idea from this? Is to say that you must grab your phone and leave it next to a table with a selfie stick and a remote, so that you understand that when you grab an idea because you're reading, you put it into video as quickly as possible and then create thousands of hours of videos. I promise you, that's what I mean. And that's the only idea, I promise you, that's the only idea for this video. Although guess what? I promise you, that's what's going to help you. You grab inspiration, you put it into video really quickly. You see, guys, here's the difference between real estate. You have to understand that most people will never invest in real estate because they do not understand it. So the first thing you can do is go and understand what that is. I mean, go and read about everything about real estate and life. You have to understand that those people who are curious are much more likely to be successful than the ones who are ignorant and closed-minded. So be an open-minded individual today and understand that real estate is a game of understanding your business. So your business is going to drive real estate. So the more money you can make in your business, I realize the more real estate you can make. So you have to understand that if you need to get a $4 million property, you have to understand it's really that you go look for the units and how much units it has in terms of that real estate. So never go for the price of the real estate. I realize that if you have a $4 million real estate and it's got one unit, realize that you may find somewhere else where you may gain 16 units for $3 million. Although you're not doing it for $3 million, you're doing it for something greater. You're actually getting real estate so you can go and make seminars around yourself, or so you can go and help people around with real estate. And you're not getting into real estate just for the money. You're getting the real estate so that you can go and make big events around the world. And that's the whole point of real estate. Although you have to understand that eventually you have to make money from your own business. And to drive money into your revenue and your capital and your business, you have to understand information products. You have to start being somebody in one field of life. I'm a life coach, so I teach a lot about life coaching and information products about life. So I just go that way. I'm also a music producer, so I'll teach you a lot about music production too. And music production is like my side hustle as well from life coaching. So I have both businesses. So if one fails, I realize I have the other one. I realize I succeed in both because I'm a life coach. You have to understand, either way, I do music and life coaching together because I can handle it. I realize that most life coaches will never even do music production and also life coaching. So I'm the only one today who can do that. You have to understand, although, that you must also be something big in your life. So to understand that if you are making real estate in your life, you never develop it. You only ever go and invest in an already developed real estate. So make sure that you're not building real estate because it's a waste of time. You have to understand that it may take 10 years for you to even start making money on it. You get it? So never waste your money on real estate that has only land. I mean, if you're keeping land, you're not making money on the land. You get what I mean? I mean, you may have your money in the land, although it's going to be there, and that's that. I realize that land is like gold. And when you invest in land, I realize it just stays. And your money is just there, and it's like a piece of land there. And that's that. I realize although you don't invest in land, you don't invest in land, you don't invest in gold, you don't invest in silver, you invest in information products. And then you get all this information together, and you start teaching it and teaching it and teaching it. And eventually, you're going to grow popularity. And then you're going to be able to get a lot of gigs for public speaking, and people are going to call you around, and then they're going to give you some money. Although you're not doing it for the money, you're doing it for free. You go there and you teach people from a kind heart, you give them all the information, and then they may drop a check into your account. And then you start building that account up with more business. You get it? You get the money, you invest it somewhere, into yourself is the best asset. And you have to understand, you are either your biggest asset or your biggest liability. You're either your biggest winner or your biggest loser. I need you to be a winner. I need you to be an asset column. I need you to understand your assets. I need you to understand what's taking away your money and what's also bringing it in. I promise you that anything that's bringing in more money is bringing in more time freedom. I promise you anything that's putting money into your pocket is an asset. So understand that real estate, you can never get to real estate if you have no business. You have to understand real estate first. You have to read real estate. You have to understand the real estate information. You then have to go and do it. You have to do it on your own. And you don't need other people to do it for you. You don't need Grant Cardone to hold your hand. You don't need other people to hold your hand to do real estate. You can go and learn the information and go and do it yourself. And you'll learn along the way how to do it, because those people who have a journal can do anything. You understand? So write it all down and plan your life daily and accordingly to how the world is structuring. Because what's happening today is not what's going to happen next year. And what's happening next year is not going to happen in 10 years' time. So life is different and life is moving, and those people who are around you may die today. So back yourself up and have a nice, beautiful plan and insurance money to go along with that, and make sure that you have some money saved so in case a raining day happens. You understand? I mean, make sure that no matter what, that you're going where the freedom is and where you're going where the business value is, because that way you're going to beat somebody. You need to understand that in order for you to get real estate, you need to give 25% of the down payment, which is 25% of the investment of the real estate. So it may be $1 million to give toward that real estate so you can gain it, although you're going to give $250,000. So you have to go and find the money. And the best way to find the money is drive information into the online world and start giving people more and more knowledge. You have to be in front of people's faces in a way that you're going to do it online. And online is now the only way to do it. You have to understand that the only way to do it now is to make sure that whatever you're doing is you're giving people more information products, and that way you're going to become a star. And now you have to be a star. So the best way you can do it is, let's make sure that you become vegan and also lose the weight, and make sure that you're becoming healthier, and also you're having a financial tracker all the time so you can go and label where your money is going, because that way your communication skills also have to improve. You have to understand that you have to be that type of individual who's always going to communicate in front of the camera, and you're going to give people so much content that they can never forget you. I realize that's what it takes. So it's either you're going to give people a lot of information to succeed, because that's what's going to get you the real estate and everything that you ever dreamt of, or you're going to go work for somebody else and you're going to be a loser. I realize I'd rather give you all the information in the world so that I succeed. I realize I succeed when I give you all the information I can. I go and find it, I'll give it to you. I'll go find it, I'll go give it to you. I'll give it to you for free, because I'm that kind of business. I go and be your slave in a way that I'm giving you information so that I can be less of a slave. You get it? Because I'm not a slave. I'm not a slave, although I'll go and find information. I'm a messenger. I get the information, I give it to you. I get the information, I give it to you. You get it? I give it to you for free. And that way I grow from that. I don't have to go interviewing other people and listen to them for 1 hour, because that's 1 hour where I can teach you something. I realize that when I'm reading something, I've got plenty of time to read. I realize that interviewing someone is like reading on YouTube from other people. I don't need to call experts in to be a talk show host, to host other people, to find out about their life. I can see their life already. I can see who they are. I can see how they live life. I can see everything. I don't need them to tell me in an interview how they live their life. I can see it already. In a sense, so what I do is I teach all of you. In every single video that I can, I give you as much knowledge as I can. And that's it. I promise you there's no guarantees. I promise you there's no guarantees about anything other than growth right now. So I'm growing in this video. I promise you that's the only guarantee you get from me. You understand? I promise you the only guarantee is when you're giving money or anything in life, you're growing. I realize now, the more money you give, I realize the more you grow. I realize the more mindset you give, the better you are. I need you to go with you in terms of be better than you are every single day. I need you to go and be your best version every single day and show up in front of the camera and go and give people your absolute best. And give people and be serious about it. Because guess what? I'd rather do this than do the 9 to 5. I'd rather do this than the forklift driving and the waitering. I don't care about waitering. I don't care about serving people drinks. I'd rather serve them information and wisdom and something of kindness and something of mindset and spirituality where they can go and help themselves. You get it? I realize I'm more of that work. I don't care about staying and waiting for people to come into a restaurant. I realize that's not my type of work. You understand? So what do? I feed myself a lot of information about real estate, about everything. I'm so interested about all information and all type of imagery in the planet. Because what's important is the new images that you place into your mind. And the more new imagery of information and everything in terms of new you have in your life, the newer you become and the better you become. So here's something for you here's something for you in terms of this moment so that you can understand, that it's for something greater. I always do it for something greater. I do it for I in Jesus. Let's understand that Jesus is somebody who can help you so much. I need you to understand that whatever you're doing every single day, you're going to put Jesus into your life every single day, and you're going to go do Jesus work over money work. Because money is not going to get you Jesus. You understand? You go do Jesus work, and that way you have Jesus more in your life. And that's the only way to go. You have to understand that each and every single day, you're going to drive all your business revenue from what? You're going to do it with information and not from real estate. You're not going to do it from anything else. You're going to do it by kind acts of love. You're going to give people what they deserve. You're going to give them what they want, and you will get what you want. As Zig Ziglar says. I promise you, no matter what, you guys have a great day, and that's the only way to succeed. You make sure that everybody is always doing better. You see, guys, the only way today to succeed is to overcome your ego. So your ego is the thinking that you have. And now the ego is not your brain, and it's not anything other than the thoughts that you see. And now to overcome the ego, you have to understand, you have to go and write it down. You have to write down your thoughts as much as you can every single day of every single second of every single moment in life. Because that way, you're going to overcome the ego. And your ego is not going to fill your brain and your life with thoughts. So the more thoughts you help people with right now, by writing it down into video or audio or writing, I realize the more smarter you're going to get. So what you have to realize is most people are very old. And why is that? I realize it's because they're not teaching anything. You have to understand. And then the ego is putting all these thoughts in their head. And then their propeller is not starting. I promise you all though that when you're putting thoughts to paper or thoughts to video or thoughts to audio or thoughts to electronic phone journal or note system, you're going to put all these thoughts down and your propeller is going to start spinning slowly. And then once it's going this quick, you're going to understand that you're just taking action and you're just grabbing an idea and putting it into video. You grab an idea, you put it into video. You grab an idea, you put it into video. You put all this content into video and you make 1,100 hours of video content. And now I can call you a professional. I can call you somebody in something that's going to help me in somewhere in terms of some type of lifestyle. You're going to help me somewhere in life because you have all this expertise that you've given already. So that is how information products work for you and how you build this massive empire of real estate and also business and how you become a public speaker and how you have the best information in the world. You have to understand that any type of information that you give must be the best information, and the best information is any information that you can give. So the more you can give information, the better you are.